I'm a firm believer in God. I know you are too. Just tell people how important, is God to you. Like what's your
Oh,
relationship like with
whew.
God? And because I know you done been through a lot. You done been
Yes,
through
honey.
the ringer. They got a
Listen,
good.
we tapped in. I got my own line,
Yeah, I've got them on. Yeah,
and
hold
my
on, this
mama
him right here.
angel and my niece. I got a couple angels.
Yeah.
But I have. I made the whole without crying. Look,
Yeah, take your time.
but I have.
Find some tissue if you can, Troy.
I got some.
Oh, okay.
Look, I was trying to make it, y'all.
Man.
But I think that I know I am where I am today because of God. Um, and just recently, I was in prayer, and I was like, wow. He spoke to me and said, I am the mirror for many.
Mm.
And I was sitting there and I was like, what is this voice? Right? And that has happened before, but I think I wasn't in a place where I could receive it. And I was like, what does that mean? So then for some days after that, I was like, what do this mean? What do this mean? Because I hadn't been, fully committed to this, like sharing my story and talking about the process and how I have got to where I am, and I just know that he doesn't put on us anything that we can't handle, and we have to be still enough, right, to get the message and then make sure that we're doing what's required, right? I have been so scared to be me, for so long. Worried about what other people had to say, or
Right.
the haters and the naysayers. And I think
Trying to please other people.
we're kind of people pleasing and all of that. But through this journey of healing, I know now that I had to experience those things to be able to come out on this side, so now part of my sharing and is again behind the scenes encouraging other people,
Right.
like, you can do this, like seeing other people's talents.
Yeah.
You and I have had that conversation, like, not being afraid to be great, right?
Yeah.
We are powerful beings, and he gives us some gifts and some talents. And yeah, I think that I know that everything that I've done, and specifically in the last 4 or 5 years, has been God. Like I haven't really had like a full plan. Like I'll be like, oh, I want to do this, or I'm gonna move, out of Wisconsin, or I want to do consulting. I want to do speaking engagements. And I had to do the work behind that. Like, okay, I got to make some calls, or I got to, put myself in some positions, but also my name being spoken when I'm not there. Right.
Yeah.
You know how they say your name is in rooms before you get there.
Yeah.
And that has continued to happen. So when I tell you, some days I just be like, thank you, God. Like, for real.
Man.
Because I know it's only Him.
Man.
Because this wasn't supposed to be my life. I grew up on 27th Street here in Milwaukee in, the worst zip code, 53216. They made a whole documentary. Was not supposed to be here for many different experiences that I've had. So,
right.
To be here, sitting in this view.
Yeah. I'm feeling like, I feel rich when I be coming to your house. Yeah.
We are rich,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And claim it, So, yeah.
Man.
He definitely has his hand on my life. So I'm trying to make sure that, like I said, every day I'm being intentional about, my interactions, my words,
right.
How I'm giving back, how I'm helping people.
Right.
So, yeah.
Man, yeah, that's amazing. I appreciate you, being vulnerable and honest about that, And I think that's that's gonna be, you gonna go viral. They gonna be like, man, I felt her when she, man, when she started crying, But yeah, so I appreciate you sharing that though, just because that's that's why, like I said, God has always been the most impactful part of my life. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I started, my solo podcast. Because He gave me so much purpose on my life, and I shared this with, my brother Nate before, is that, because, I got the Modern Kings podcast, but he was like, man, I want you to do that, but then I also want you to do this other work, what I mean? Because that's why, and I even started this before that one, so that's why I had to take some time off to really come back to it, because, this is me, walking into like, deeper purpose, what I mean, to really doing therapy based work, because that's always been my thing. Like I said, God just revealed me my purpose at 14 years old, which is to help and heal people. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I was like, man, I gotta make a podcast centered around therapy, healing, wellness, spiritual, God, all of that in one, because it's so important.
Right.